It is 8:30. We'll call the meeting of the Metro County Board of Supervisors to order. We have an agenda in front of us. I'll ask if there's any corrections or changes, deletions. If not, I'll ask for...
Under item B, could Joel give us an update on where we're at on moving? And then item E, as long as October 31st has passed, maybe we can just have a brief discussion on ATVs.
Okay. Nothing else? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay. A motion and a second to approve the agenda with the additions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Item number 2 is a bailiff project.
Alright, we're actually constructing out there. The boys are doing foundation work for the tanks. I'd give them probably 2 weeks and we'll see steel going up in the air, and that'll be going really good. We've progressed relatively far on the Osage wastewater plant. I have a meeting with Jared Dunley next week to kind of go over some of the things that we're going to do out there so I can incorporate the way they use the facility, but I think we're pretty much on track with that. We've got a good amount of the site work done for the rest of the plant design out there. We're still on track in my mind. We'll be bidding this stuff in January. Everything looks like it's still on track. I got the latest schedule update from Luke last week, and it looks like in his mind they'll have everything turned on by late summer of 2014, which is a little bit further out than what was first anticipated, which is good because it gives us a little bit more room to wiggle around. We'll be having meetings with him and the new plant manager out there probably starting in the next couple weeks here. That'll go on monthly until we start construction. Then as the two schedules start to converge more, we're going to have to probably meet, you know, maybe more often than that, just to make sure that we're on track with their schedule. But right now, everything's just where it should be. I don't have any issues. I'll call up Lowell, but I'll have a pay request for you guys next week for the tanks, and everything's going good in my mind. Do you have any questions that you guys want answered? All right, we're gonna, one of these days, and I don't know what works best for you folks, I'd like to have a sit down with you to go over, this is a county project, I'd like to go over each project with you guys and let you understand what the full sites are going to look like and what kind of improvements are going to go there. So if you can think about that, and maybe we could do it just after Thanksgiving or something. I don't know what you guys' schedules are like, but weekends, evenings, I don't care, whatever works for you folks. Just get together and go over the plan. I just want you guys to be up to speed on what all the improvements actually are out there. So,
sounds good.
Other than
We
that,
can hold a workshop. I mean, that's what,
sure, whatever works.
yeah.
And also some plan sheets. Again, I just want you to be up to speed. It's your project. We want to make sure you're okay with it, or at least know what's going on.
Sure. Yeah. Boy, they're really going to town constructing that building.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Our guys are going to work 7 days a week now at the tank. They had called and asked, I'd asked the city about restricted work hours. Jerry said no restrictions, so they're going to work 7
Would
days.
you want to be part of that, Mark? Or?
Okay.
City, we don't have any restrictions in county.
Well, since it's right next to the residential area there, it makes sense to ask.
Sure.
Otherwise, you guys will get a call. Other than that, things are going good. So I'm real pleased with everything. The DNR isn't holding me up yet. That may change after a while, of course, but I'm on track. All right, that's all I got for you today. It's an easy one. All right.
Thanks,
See you guys later, and I'll be back next week.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
If you want to go ahead.
All it needs is.
We'll jump down to number 7. Need the signature for chair to sign the sheriff's asset and forfeiture report.
Want to just give a brief what's in it, Rick? Because we haven't seen it.
This is money that the asset forfeiture account took in and spent last fiscal year. And I can go over the details if you like.
Just a brief summary, if you would.
Okay, spent $443 on the dog. Office supplies $574, and patrol vehicle accessories $350.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. A motion and a second to allow the chair to sign the sheriff's asset and forfeiture report. Roll call vote, Locke.
Aye.
Snyder?
Aye.
Morale? Aye. Motion carried.
As long as you're here, Kurt, did your office have any problems, complaints and that with ATVs this last summer with us?
Oh, off the top of my head, I can't tell you. If you call me, I could go through the computer and find out,
But I mean,
off the top of my
nothing
head,
sticks out.
No,
Oh, you have two sets.
you're identical.
How much did the forfeiture fund take in? I know we have a few of them, Terrence, I just don't remember. Maybe we didn't have any last year, this last fiscal year, I thought we did.
$1,300.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Are all the phone calls that come in recorded, or just the ones that are 911, or?
All of them except the one line in that one.
I'll probably stop over, I got a little bit of information on the stolen cattle. I'll stop over.
Would it be something that relates to a recorded call?
Well, possibly.
Stop over. Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, thanks, Kurt.
Okay, now we can back up to number 3, county attorney general discussion. Item A is discuss a bill received for repair work to a curb.
I turned it back to the OMU, told them to, what you told me to tell them.
Yeah.
And they said that'd be fine. Well, okay, give you a little history. Up on North 10th Street, there was a residential, well, I don't know if I have the bill with me or not, but anyway, the OMU had done some digging to a curb stop. I talked to Jim Weary about it, and Jim had said at the time up there when we were laying down asphalt, he got a complaint from the property owner that the stand-up pipe or curb stop was damaged and he had a leak. Well, evidently Jim Weary went back to Jim Hyde at the time, and Jim said, yes, exactly, if we broke it, I guess we need to fix it. Well, that was in 2009, now it's 2012, and so there's a lot of discussion between the OMU board and why the OMU was even up there doing the digging. But they were, I talked to the city, Gary Schneider, the water guy. I says, when you got down to the curb stop, was it broken? No, it was not broken. The fittings on the property owner side were corroded and they needed to be replaced. They replaced them, turned it on, turned the water on. Water came gushing out of the ditch, turned the water off. Ended up replacing a section of the pipe, the water service to the property. It's an old galvanized 2-inch line that was used at the Gardner Nursery back in, what, 1930s, you know? After they replaced that section, they turned it on again, and what I've heard since, they've had to shut it off again because the meter box was filling up with water. And I called the property owner on it. I asked him, I understand that there was a problem, and I asked him when this all occurred. He said it occurred when you were laying down asphalt, and that was in 2009. But being on the city council, I kind of remember some discussion on this same thing a number of years ago, and the prior water superintendent contacted this person in 2004 and said, we need to shut your water off, you have a leak. There you are.
But he wants us to pay for it.
Right.
Sorry, you said
Because
before
we
here.
said you would pay for it. Well, I think that,
But it's
we need to be
I think
responsible for the damage.
I think the statement was, if we did the damage, we'll
Right.
pay for it. Well,
But we didn't do the damage.
it turns out, at least from what we know right now, Mitchell County had nothing to do with causing the damage.
No.
So like I told Joel, if we did the damage, we're gonna be responsible, we're gonna pay for it. But we're not gonna pay for someone else's neglect or damage. So that's where we are. We declined to pay the bill. And we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Item B is discuss a lease with Fox River Mills for the court system and possible action.
Between Joel and Scott and Becky and I, we've been going back and forth, I don't know, a couple weeks. And we thought we had the final version a couple days ago, but we had to make a couple changes because there is a gas meter out there and they wanted $5 million worth of liability and the county doesn't have that. So we reached an agreement on those two provisions, and I got a new lease from her this morning, but it looks exactly the same. She said, I made the changes, here's the new copy, but it's exactly the same as the old one. The changes aren't made on it. So
We'll have to talk to her about that.
So I told Joel, as soon as I get back, I'll give her a call rather than emailing her and say, you know, those changes weren't made. I think we substantially agreed, you get those two changes made, we'll sign it, it's not a problem. But my understanding is they're in there already under the memorandum of understanding, so.
Would we want to approve this pending the changes? And allow the chair to sign as soon as the
Yeah,
changes are made?
That's fine.
Okay, I'd make that motion.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to allow the chair to sign the lease between Fox River Mills and the court system, pending the necessary changes are made. Roll call vote, Volklander,
Aye.
Bach,
Aye.
Murnau, aye.
On the email I got, their insurance were gonna waive those requirements and accept what the county has for their policy.
They said they'd accept the county limits, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's what we're gonna put in there, but it's not in there yet.
Okay, item C is discuss entering into a contract with FEH and Associates and possible action.
Well, this came about from our workshop meeting the other day, and when Jeff Isle was up, he pretty much laid out 4 scenarios, what the county should do. If the vote comes back, yes, well, then we can proceed with what we want to do. If the vote comes back, no, we can still proceed. But in visiting, Mary was there, and Penny was there, and Jim was there. And if a vote comes back no, well, then we can still proceed with, and you were there, Stan, catch me if I'm wrong on this, we can still proceed with the findings, or, well, I guess the offer that was made was then, shall we go ahead and do the study as to whether or not this building can be rehabilitated? And
Do both at the same time.
do both at the same time. I contacted the FEH and they said they were fine with that. We'll do whatever you folks want us to do. So that's why I had it put on here. We don't know what the vote's going to be today, but either way, I don't think doing nothing is an option. And so I had this put on. I guess I guess if it comes back no, then I guess we need to contact them and tell them, yes, we want that study done.
We're going to need to be able to, one way or the other, come up with a design, a preliminary design for a new courthouse, what it's going to cost, get public input on what it would look like, and yes, the only thing, like Joel said, is that if it's a no vote, we also include what they estimate it's going to cost to rehabilitate this thing, and that way the public has a full understanding of both issues, and probably 6 to 7 months down the line, we would hold another, or whoever's here, would hold another public hearing on borrowing so much money, and
Well,
then there could be another reverse referendum, but it'll be basically again looked at a second time.
but you can look at that no vote is that, you know, the folks wanted to be able to vote on it, and they also maybe want these questions answered.
Yep.
So we'll answer those questions, I guess, that's my duty. So with that, I'd make a motion that stating that what the vote comes back no, we will hire FEH to do that study. Because they are also on the State Historical Preservation Architects, the state's list of approved, or whatever you want to call them, but, so.
You're basically saying just move ahead with whatever studies
I'm
we need to.
staying, just like what we just discussed. the
Yeah, move
options
ahead
that
with
we
whatever
have.
studies we need to do.
Right.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second to move forward with the agreement with the FEH Associates. Either way with the
Side note to that, I talked to Don Seymour from FEH, and he said, let me know what happens on the 7th. He wants to know how soon the county wants to go forward with their charrettes, or whatever they called it. He says, we'll pick up right where we've left off. You know, as far as inviting the county in, and anybody that has any ideas or wants or whatever they think or believe the county should do, you know, as far as building a courthouse or rehabilitating the courthouse. He says we want to know everything. I mean, that the people are feeling, because it is the county's courthouse.
Okay.
So,
Roll call vote, Volklander?
Aye.
What?
Aye.
Merrill, aye. Motion carried. Anything else, Mark?
Got a couple things. At 8:45, we had the public hearing on the sale of this property over in St. Ansgar Industrial Park.
Yeah, we should probably be doing
Tim and
that
Jody
already.
Scholes.
We should be doing that already. Item 4 is the public hearing on the public sale of property in St. Ansgar. This is just the lot that we had purchased earlier,
Right.
and we're selling it to Tim Schultz.
Tim and Jody Scholes,
Tim and Jody Schultz.
$20,000. That's what you paid for it, right?
Yeah. Getting our money back. Supervisors, any calls or
I haven't had any
nothing? I haven't
discussion.
had anything. Lowell?
No,
Nothing?
nothing.
Okay, we can open this up to the public then. Are there any comments from the public on this transaction? If not, I guess we can close the public hearing. We're gonna have 3 readings of this, or
Just one.
just today?
Yep.
Okay. Okay,
Just
so
do it.
then,
It doesn't say anything about any action though to be taken. Do we need to?
Oh, no, you just use them. Yeah. The public hearing was today on whether to sell it, so we need a motion to sell it to them for $20,000.
So moved.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second to sell the St. Ansgar property to Tim and Jody Schultz. Roll call vote, Walk.
Aye.
Volklander.
Aye.
Merrill, aye. Motion carried.
Then, a couple of years ago, Mitchell County and Floyd County went together and bought property from Larson's. It's right on the county line. Because of the way the grant worked, Mitchell County had to buy everything, even though Floyd County put in the money for their part, Mitchell County put in the money for their part. There could only be one entity that could get the grant. So now that the note is paid off and the mortgage is paid off, we need to transfer that property that's in Floyd County to Floyd County. So we need to get that set for public hearing. My thought is, if you approve that, I could get it to the paper by Friday. I could have it in by the 14th, and we could have the public hearing on the 20th. Now, Mitchell County's not going to receive any compensation for that because Floyd County already paid for the property. So, just a motion that I can put the notice of public sale in the property,
So moved.
or in the paper.
Second?
Motion and second to approve the publication of for the public hearing on the conservation property. Agreement with Floyd County, roll call vote, Volklander?
Aye.
Watt?
Aye.
Ralph? Aye. Motion carried.
I don't think I have anything else.
I'd like to ask you the same question I asked Sheriff Yonker. Did your office have any issues this past summer with ATVs?
No, not a single call, not a complaint, and I don't ever remember prosecuting anybody. No news is good news, I guess. Did that sunset? Is that what happened?
31st.
of October.
Okay.
Now I can get some sleep. No, actually, I had not heard anybody, one way or the other.
Not having her word.
Do you have that on or something for this week?
Well, Stan added it
Oh, okay.
this morning just to have some discussion on it. And
Okay.
I,
So right now, they can't drive them again?
Right.
Okay.
Wasn't
No,
there
I
somebody
got-
though that was injured in an accident? Maybe that was crossing the road or something earlier in the summer?
That was on Highway 218 where
218,
they
and-
were not allowed to be on anyway. It was not part of our,
Okay.
it did not affect our ordinance. Or
Oh,
not resolution, I mean. I'll correct that to be a resolution.
The only call I had was up at Stacyville. Somebody thought they were running and tearing up the gravel road doing cookies in it, but it was some kids with a go-kart, which I made the call to their mother, and that ended that. So.
I'll admit I caught that.
Yeah. but
While you're driving
they
it, you
were-
see
they
the
were-
ruts. I
They
mean,
were tearing, stirring up the gravel
But I think
pretty
that-
bad, making it rough, and they shouldn't have been on the road with a go-kart.
that happens without the resolution too, so.
That's right. Anyway, that one phone call stopped that.
Well, as long as you're here, Rich, did your office have any?
I did not get any phone calls from complaints. Like I said, I drove a couple locations just randomly, and you can see it, but you see it without the resolution. You see donuts in the intersections, you're not gonna probably alleviate that.
as far as that goes, I see black marks all over the concrete highways,
Oh, yeah.
and they're not done by ATV.
Well, you're right, so,
I mean,
yeah.
you know,
Enough said.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's laws being broken, there's laws being broken everywhere. But,
Yeah, Mark has
So no, I didn't have any complaints.
nothing else. Mark will go to the county engineer update.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Rich, you're on.
Well, we've got some things going on. We're gonna start ordering our salt, and we got our salt shed cleaned out. All the salt's back in the outlying sheds. So we're gonna calculate what we need to get filled up again. Probably by the end of the week, all of our blacktop trucks will have the standards on. We won't have all the wings on it yet, but we still wanna operate without the wings as long as we can so that we can still haul rock and sand if we need to. They got about half the county. They're trying to go out and straighten up signs here before winter, so they've got a lot of running around to do yet. They got about half the county covered, they said, with getting some signs straightened back up and aligned and replaced what needs replacing. So we're continuing that while it's sloppy out. We're doing some ditch jobs, and we're still trying to backfill our 84 extension pipe there by McIntyre. We'd extended 84-inch pipe, and we're using some dirt from one ditch project to backfill it to get some better slopes on it. Actually, it's going to be pretty wide shoulder where those pipes are, so that'll be better than it was. We talked to the Cloverleaf Construction about getting that roof in Riceville. They're thinking that possibly after Thanksgiving they can get in there and start working on that. And in addition to that, we had discussed the the radiant heaters that are right over the top of our motor graders. Merlin put the thermometer on top of one of those cabs just to see what it was like, and he said it hits about 130 degrees. Not flame-throwing hot, but something that we're going to try to shift them about 5 foot to the side and keep them heaters from beating down on those cabs that hard. I think at the time they were, what's that?
Would it help to have fans?
Well, they're the radiant type heaters,
Yeah.
so
They just-
they already have some sort of a blower in them. But I think when those were first put in, we didn't have the size of equipment we had, or that we have now. So things are a little bit taller and bigger. So we're going to shift them 5 foot. And at least the building will still heat. The building will still have the heat. The stuff will still thaw. So we're going to have the local plumber come in and do that. He's going to run our exhaust for those heaters out the back wall instead of through the roof. Just one less hole in the roof to worry about leaking next time. So. You had asked about a tile outlet there over by Meyer.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't gone out and contacted him yet. I drove by and I don't know how many tile outlets are in the ditch.
He said it was just one, it was
Down on the low side and
inlet, I thought he said it was an inlet.
an inlet?
I think he said it was
Okay.
an inlet.
Okay, well, we'll look at that then. If it's on the south side,
South side east of his building.
right. So, well, we'll look at the inlet then. I thought it was a tile outlet. If there's a tile outlet, it's down the bottom of the hill and it's eroded so far back in the field that we would have never touched it on the back slope.
Yeah,
but
no, I'm pretty sure it was an inlet. But
we'll get with him and we'll talk to him about it. Just
Yeah.
want to let you know that we haven't gotten there yet to talk about it. So, we do have, today we were going to discuss tractor quotes. I'm a little surprised. I see we have 2 of them. I was expecting 4, so I don't know if some people didn't read the quote very well and determine when they were supposed to be turned in, but if you guys want to open them, we'll proceed with seeing what that's going to take.
go ahead.
This quote's from North Country. We had changed a few things. Our description for the tractor first, we kind of wanted a 6-cylinder. Well, a 6-cylinder, the way the new tractors are coming out, a 6-cylinder was going to be too big a horsepower tractor we need just for mowing. So I created an addendum to change the size of engine down to a 4-cylinder. Basically said, doesn't matter whether it's 4 or 6, all we need is 95 PTO horsepower minimum. So that opened up the door for some smaller tractors that'll still work for the mower.
I got a 3-cylinder.
Putt. So I think what the North Country equipment here in town quoted us 6115M.
61 what?
It's a 6115M. Without looking through this whole thing and reading whatever he's got, they priced that at $74,094.64. That's just the tractor and not the mower, because they didn't have a mower that fit the specifications. So we'll have to evaluate this stuff when we're all done, trying to find the right combination of tractor and mower prices. This quote is from Mid-Country Machinery, which sells Tiger mowers, which is similar to our diamond mowers that we run now. They're quoting a 7130. I'll make sure they got the addendum. They quoted a 7130 tractor for $69,500 and a Tiger side mower for $17,795.05. $17,795.05. Now, having only had 2 quotes, we did we did send the quote package to the Olsons also. Yep, and we also sent it to Diamond Mowers, and I'm really surprised that we didn't get anything back from either one of those two. So,
I am too,
I don't know if you guys wanna accept them or reject them, and
Why don't you look them over and come back next week and
Okay.
give us your recommendation?
we'll look at that then. I wanna look at the combinations. I mean, obviously, when you look at the pricing, we've only got one complete package here, and one of them's a lot cheaper than the other, so we'll have to look through.
Would that 7130, that John Deere, but would that be the same horsepower as you're looking for, what, 90?
Oh, I'm sure that, I think that 7130 is a lot bigger tractor compared to the 6115. We'll look through all this stuff, but
How did we come out with the insurance company then?
we got, on that tractor that they gave us 22,500 for that. They're supposed to take that all away, which is kind of fair considering I did some research too to look at what the going rate was for a tractor that actually ran, and it was in the ballpark. I also checked on trading in one of our other lawnmower tractors for a used one and got hit below the belt. They only wanted a trade-in value of $5,600, which I thought was awfully cheap. For that price, we might just as well keep it, because you can't even buy a new disc mower for $5,600. And this was a complete unit, so we could probably use it for a backup. So I haven't talked to that machinery company yet about their quote to us and their trade-in values, but we'll review these and we'll discuss it next week. I might want to contact the other two and see if they were.
Should we contact them, see if they got their?
I'll contact the other ones and see if there was some confusion, but I know I personally, either by phone or in person, talked to both local dealers and had email contact with Diamond Mowers last week, and they were all gung-ho, they were gonna get us something, so I don't know what happened.
I'd check on
But
it.
I'll check on those guys.
That New Holland unit we got out there now works fine, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a good unit. So, other than that, I guess the only thing left to discuss is consideration for new hire and the recommendation that was brought up last week. I guess I'm gonna stand by the recommendation and let you guys decide where to go.
That's your recommendation then, is what you had last week?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I don't know the individual personally, I've had no experience or whatever, so I don't feel that I could comment either way.
It's your call, go for it.
Something that has to be voted on?
Need a motion.
So move.
I can't.
There was some question about how this all came about, is that?
I guess we need to, maybe that's a discussion we need to have.
Do we need a sit-down meeting?
Right. That would be a good starting place.
All things being equal according to job description,
Are all things equal?
according to the job description, they would be. You know, can the individual perform the tasks that we ask for in the job description? Can he
Did you have help?
run equipment? Can he run a dump truck? Yep, he can run the dump truck, he can run the equipment.
Got the necessary license?
He's got the licenses to drive the equipment, he's got some municipal experience, he's dumped rock before, all that.
I don't know the individual, I wouldn't know him if I saw him on the street. I just know that a number of individuals question our thinking.
Rich, I've got a question for you. If someone is hired, that's union out there, correct?
You can be, you don't
Okay.
have to be part of it, but we are bargaining unit, yes.
Okay. Is there like a probationary period where you can terminate them, or once they're hired, are they part of the union and you have to go through the union process?
If my memory serves me correct, I know there's at least a 6-month period where you can terminate without just cause.
And that's part of the collective bargaining agreement too?
I believe that is.
Okay.
Well, with that in mind, I'd sure give it the guy a try if that's Rich's recommendation. If it doesn't work out in 6 months, he can terminate.
Would you rather have further discussion? So I'm kind of reading between the lines here.
That's up to you guys. I mean,
Want a closed session, or?
we need to get somebody on staff, so.
Yeah, I know.
If you're gonna have a
You were gonna hire 3 people last summer, and then it was changed to 2, and then 1 this fall, so this is the one for this fall. And you are short, or you were short 3 people, correct?
Right, we are now down 1.
So you're still down 1.
To keep with our standard population of guys.
Did you have 3 individuals picked out for last summer?
We could have. I mean, when you have 50 applications, you can find, you know, if you're gonna hire 3, you can pick 3 out of 50. I mean, it's,
I know.
but like I said last week, we all sat here and had that conversation about re-advertising based on job description and type of application we were using.
And disclose the fact that you needed a Class A CDL, correct?
Well, that was the topic of last time, was that we only required the Class A, and it was the opinion that it was too restrictive, so we opened to Class B, because Class B can still run dump truck, so.
Bob, you had mentioned having a closed session. The supervisors on their own can't go into a closed session.
Right.
The person who's being considered to be hired would have to actually
request it.
make that request that you go into closed session.
Okay, thank you. So, if you want to have a further discussion on this,
I don't know, I guess this is where we're at. I mean, I feel in a way that if it's my department, it should be by recommendation.
You feel it's your department?
Well, isn't it supposed to be?
Well, I'm asking, do you feel it's your department?
Yeah. To a certain extent.
Do you feel it's his department, Stan? I'm just asking a yes or no question. Is it his department? Bob, do you think it's his department?
I do.
I absolutely do too. Is it his department, Mark? And how much does the Board of Supervisors have to do with decisions at the engineer's office? We don't have PE behind our names.
I mean, you hired him to run the department, but code says you have to approve
I don't have a problem with that,
certain things, yeah.
you know, and I feel that's what our job is, that and budgetary. It's not going out sitting on Rich's lap deciding who we're gonna hire and who we're not.
I agree.
Okay.
I guess I brought a recommendation to the board to hire somebody, and
I guess knowing what I know, I can't go along with it, but if these two gentlemen wanna go ahead and approve it, that's their decision, not mine. I'll work with anybody, anytime, anywhere, but
Motion dies for lack of a second.
okay.
that I know of.
Where do we go from here?
Good question.
No, I really feel this whole thing the same thing. Last June, I was getting,
I had a number of people stop and ask me about the job. I know what I told them, Stan, I said, there's the engineer's office out there, you want the job, you go out and apply for it. I could've went out and sat on Rich's lap and
I didn't tell Rich who we had to hire. Did I, Rich? Did I tell you that you had to hire him?
Directly, no. You didn't directly tell me who to hire.
I did say that I had some work experience with him and that, right?
Yeah.
I did not tell him that he had to hire him.
That's the reason why we changed the job description, isn't it?
Why?
So he would qualify. We had 3 individuals last summer we could have hired right now. We're probably gonna have some people retire here.
What we had is last summer.
It's not our problem.
None of us understood that that thing was a Class A, and the other problem was, those people that had standing applications in there did not understand the job description had been changed from a Class B to a Class A. That was really the big problem that we had. That got changed to a Class A.
In my experience, whenever I went for a job and I heard that that was gonna be another opening, I always went back and put another application in. Not only that,
But this
The individual asked if he could reuse his application that he had submitted. I said, as long as nothing's changed on your application, you can. I did not look at his application before I put it in there to know whether or not he qualified for the job description that we had posted.
That's the big problem that we had, and that was my concern.
Whether that was my responsibility to let that individual know or not.
Because the guy had asked if his job application was okay. And he was indicated it was. I didn't know that we changed to a Class A, nobody else knew we would change to a Class A.
It was changed a while before that even, but
we didn't.
but then there again, we all just sat here and you heard the county attorney. It's Rich's decision, what he wants to hire, how the job description needs to read. And I think that's what he did. And then it got to be blown up. Oh, well, it's not fair now. Well, that's not our call. We hired him to do the job out there. He's doing a magnificent job as far as I'm concerned.
We made the
This board
change
needs
to a
to step
Class B.
back.
We made the change to a Class B.
it opened it up to more qualified people if we kept the Class B. But, you know,
Because everybody doesn't need to run a semi. We have 1 semi and 15 employees.
And the Class A is just to run a semi.
run it, up,
Tractor trailer.
yes,
That's how many Class A's we got now.
about half.
You have a qualified individual and you're not hiring him, I think that's a disgrace. Plus he's a veteran. He is a veteran. Served in the United States Army for us. And this is how we're treating the veteran. I think that's an absolute disgrace. And Bob, you were a veteran.
That doesn't necessarily cut anything, Stan, being a veteran. I was a veteran and took the civil service exams for the United States Postal Service.
And we got extra
It gave me
points.
5 points on the test. If I would not have scored high enough, that 5 points wouldn't have made any difference at all, whether I was hired or not. I was fortunate enough to be intelligent enough to score 95 points. 5-point veteran, gave me 100% on the test, so it doesn't necessarily qualify you just being a veteran.
No, but he met all the other qualifications also.
According to the job description, he has the qualifications to do the job that we're asking him to do. I haven't worked with this individual before. You know, you're going to hear a lot of things on the street. You don't know what's true, what's false. And with the veteran's preference, how do you define what's equal? I mean, I know it's based on an opinion. So.
Well, it is Rich's decision, I think, and
Well,
you may have to live with it, but that's the name of the game, I guess. You never, kind of like buying a used car, you don't know what you're getting until you try it out and buy it, you know. That's what I always say about hiring.
You know,
Well, then we should
Performance-
give the individual a 6-month evaluation.
okay, can you do that? Can you bring back a 6-month evaluation?
there's nothing says that we can't that I know of.
Do we do evaluations on any of our people out there?
We have, I haven't seen one. I mean, I think when I look in the file, there's been, I think the last evaluation in the file was back in the mid-80s. I mean, really.
Well, see, there's one of the problems you're gonna run into. Firing an individual. If you have no personnel file and you have no record of infractions or whatever you wanna call them, you're gonna have an awful hard time.
Well, and that's
letting
just
somebody
it.
go.
You've got to have those records of infraction, and you have to have, you
Right.
know, you've got to have a big stack of stuff go wrong in order to even probably get rid of anybody.
Right. I think that'd be a good move going forward, is to be doing those evaluations, whether it's you, your yard foreman, or whatever, but there needs to start. And because I believe you're the engineer out there, I will second Stan's motion
We have
today.
to, it died, so we
Oh,
have to remake it.
remake it then, I don't care, but I
So
will.
moved.
But
Okay.
if I ever hear again that anybody is sitting on your lap telling you what you need to be doing, I'll really be mad. And I am now. Just in order, because it's your decision, I'll set it forward.
Your second, Stan.
Yes, I did.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to consider the new hire. Roll call vote, Lot.
Aye.
Volklander.
Aye.
Merrill, aye. Motion carried. You can proceed.
Any further business for me?
You got all the signs up at the park in Stacyville there, east.
Should have, yeah.
Is there, I thought you were gonna put up a sign that said park entrance, but I may be wrong.
We don't have one that says park entrance. We have the brown signs that indicate Riverside Park with the pine tree arrow.
Well, the object of the extra sign was to slow the traffic down coming from the east, and we got all them up.
We've got the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit coming in.
There's 3 of them, right?
The
35 mile an hour coming in. I think there's 3 signs, isn't
There's the new sign is, you've got 35-mile-an-hour with the arrow that shows 35-mile-an-hour ahead. Then you've got the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit sign there,
it? Yep.
and then there's an advisory speed limit 35 coming around the curves. And that one's always been there.
Okay.
I think the reason you guys asked for that is because that sign on the curve sign is not an enforceable sign. It's an advisory sign. So the 35-mile-an-hour white on black or black on white is an enforceable sign put there by resolution.
Okay.
You can put up a,
Do you have a park entrance at Halverson, don't we?
I think the reason there's one there is because of the hill, but yeah, you got a curve there.
Kinda, I don't know, I just.
Well, we got so many dang signs on that curve
I
now.
know, it's probably.
I mean, we've got the chevrons, we've got the Riverside Park sign, we've got the speed limit signs and the curves. I mean, that whole thing is congested with signs. Is it gonna?
So you've got this slowing them down anyway.
Yeah, just a second.
Okay. Have you looked at the shoulders on Primrose?
Yeah.
From up, from 218 to Cedar?
Are they settling again? I know they were
I
supposed to
think
get up
they
there.
are, where they're gonna raise
Try to
them
add
up a
more.
little, or-
Well, they were trying to dump more down on those shoulders early this fall.
I just went up that here a week or so ago, and it looked like it could use some rock.
I thought they pulled it all back or added some. I'll drive it again and look.
It was kind of late in the day, so you
Oh,
know, the
low?
shadow maybe accentuated the problem.
My sister, apparently, his voting machine must be jammed at St. Ansgar, and they weren't able to get it through to.
Oh. Yeah. Other than that, I don't have anything, and you're gonna look into Dan.
Yeah, yep, we'll work into that tile.
Signs. You order signs,
We do order signs.
might have to come out. You can help me order signs.
Alright. What do you need them?
Court to court
Oh, alright.
on the highway, and we have to contact on the highway to be able to.
On 218?
Yeah, 9.
On 9, you need to contact the
And
state.
218.
Okay.
Alright, you know that, know the number or whoever we need to contact?
Yeah, I can look that up.
Alright, I'll stop out.
Oh, for,
See, we moved the clerk for court up.
Gotcha.
Rochester, So they
Yeah.
want 2 cases, one on the curtain, then in the city, it'd be the city, right? So, but we need to come up with the green and white signs, just information.
One more question, on the steel wheels, do you have any of the pictures or anything on your computer yet?
I still have that old stuff, yeah.
Good. Had a gentleman call me from Michigan, they're having the same problem up there, so I'll stop out later,
Okay.
give you his fax or email.
Alright. As far away as Michigan, huh?
Yeah, he said they're ruining the roads as faster than they can fix them up there, so.
Just if you guys were to drive in Primrose today with it being wet, you'd notice the sheen on the road surface compared to where they're not driving. I mean, that's one thing you can see. I noticed that quite a bit.
Yeah, I was informed they were driving on the road the other day, but nobody was enforcing the law, so
Okay.
they continue to get away with it. Anything else for Rich? I don't have anything.
All right. I'll review these tractor bids and we'll look at.
Yeah, a couple others, eh?
I'm really shocked because when I talked to them by phone and by email, they were gonna lickety-split send stuff out.
Yeah, I think they just forgot to look at the time, you know.
Okay.
Give them a shout.
All right.
I'll stop out there.
All right. Have a good week.
Okay, well, we got a couple of sets of minutes to approve. Yes, I can hold on one of them. Have to do them separate.
I read them both, no problem.
Then your motion stand?
Yep.
Okay, I'll second it.
A motion is second to approve both sets of minutes from October 30th and October 31st. Roll call vote. Walk.
Aye.
Platter?
Aye.
Aye. And item number 8. Ohio Housing Regional Authority pilot request.
Yeah.
Payment in lieu of taxes, I guess
was
that's what
laying
that
there.
stands for.
It was laying here on the, oh, you, okay, that's where it is.
Well, I thought everybody had a copy, but.
I thought I did too.
Yeah, I got a copy.
Yeah, we should have one. Should have been one on your desk this morning.
I think I had 2.
We've done that every year, haven't we?
Yeah, it's for the
Park Plaza
Park
Apartments.
Plaza down here on
With the
Park
North
Street.
Iowa Regional Housing Authority.
Well, let's hold off before we get too far ahead of ourselves. Put it on for next week. I can do a little investigating on this.
Okay.
Good luck.
Oh, yeah.
It's just north of Sunshine, correct? North 10th Street.
No, this is North Iowa Housing, Regional Housing Authority? Isn't that what that is?
But I mean, where those apartments.
They're down here in Third Ward.
It's for Plaza.
No.
It's
Oh.
not Park.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's not North 10th that I saw.
Let me look into that pilot request, because that was last year. And
There were some issues.
no, it was fine, but I just gotta ask treasurer something.
Okay. Item number 9, I see Mark Ross is here for the Mona junk update.
Yep, we sent a certified letter to them, but post office went there 4 times, and they never accepted it, so we get like one of the deputies to
deliberate, or, I mean, what do you guys have for a
I
suggestion?
think that's a question you ought to ask the county attorney.
Do we hand deliver it, or do we, that letter there is from the county attorney, correct, or not,
Well, this one was actually, it's a notice of abatement from me,
from you?
but the county attorney did send them a letter several months ago too.
Okay.
His wasn't certified though, but this one was certified. We usually send them certified before we.
Ask the county attorney what the next step is.
Okay.
Yeah, if you should hand deliver it, or just
And
put
I
it.
think-
Oh, I've tried, they
Although
don't answer the
I
door
think
when I go
just-
there.
Okay.
They see me coming in.
I do think personally, if you do try to, like you say, if they refuse it and that, you have made the effort, but I mean, but
Yeah, I
again,
think
ask the
so
county
too.
attorney.
But yeah, I'll
Just to
ask
make
Mark.
sure, ask Mark.
Okay, sounds good. That's all I have.
Thanks, Mark.
You bet.
Item 10, items of note. Meetings attended.
And, well, your information, where you're looking for two folks at the landfill, one for in the office and one operator. Met in Charles City last week with the HR group and went over the applications. I believe we have 3 individuals for operator and 2 individuals for office to interview Thursday morning. So that was pretty much, and then our meeting here, that was informative and
With Jeff High.
with Jeff, right? He laid out 4 scenarios of what the county could go for, and Stan can probably elaborate on better than I can.
That's your only meeting.
And that was it, yeah.
Yeah, in the meeting last Wednesday, I mean, we basically discussed financial options on being able to pay for FEH associates, and we will not have any issues with coming up with funds for that. And so Jeff did make a very major point that our best option still is if we can use TIF, to use TIF. It's the best option for the county. He stressed it. And
It's worked quite well in the past, when we needed $16.5 million to do roads. It didn't seem to bother anybody. And everybody likes their new roads, good roads, quality roads.
so, no, I'm happy to move forward with it.
Do you have anything else, Dan?
No, that's
Okay.
it.
I had a NIVIC Services full board meeting, board of directors, last Thursday. First part of the meeting was a presentation by the auditor, Dennis Renner. I have the audit here if anybody wants to see it. Everything was fine. They always come up with the segregation of duties because, you know, small organizations, you just don't have enough people to divide up the workload. So that's always on there. But and then under finances, our CPA reviewed the first quarter financials, and we're right on track with that. Under business and facilities, the wood shop production demands have required use of some temporary labor, which inflates the pricing, inflates the expenses and decreases our profit margin, but hopefully that will not be necessary in the next quarter. In assembly and packaging, they finished the armor contract, and they are increasing marketing efforts with Eternity Wireless and Directions Research. The affordable stores are under budget, basically breaking even actually. They continue to work with Andy O'Brien, who's an action coach, making some positive changes to improve the profitability of the organization. Ed Weininger was there to present an update on the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system, which needs an extensive update. We looked at different bids. Basically, they're not going to replace any of the heating and cooling units themselves. They're just going to do changing the controls to computer controlling and testing and balancing of the ductwork in the building. And that in itself is going to be about $90,000. So if anybody's got any spare dough, they can make a donation to the NIBIC. Under personnel, there was a 12% increase in health insurance premiums with United Healthcare River Valley for the next year. That's a tough one to absorb. Schedule for the Christmas party is December 7th at the Clarion Inn. That was the only one I had last week. Manure management plan.
One from Map Finisher, section 27, Cedar East Township.
Just one?
Just one.
I put on the agenda, discuss county care. They had Medicaid surveyors who were out there. One of the things they suggested is that they should meet with us more frequently. So we should go out there twice a month or every month.
You used to go every month. That's kind of fell by the wayside.
Yeah, I think we should get out there at least once a month.
I always like
Once a month should be fine.
get an update.
Yeah, that was just one of the things they had to
The other hand,
change.
she could come in here and give us the update too. Well,
That's
some
true
things.
too, and maybe that would work.
Well,
I'll
we
check.
could go out there once a month, and if she has something in the meantime, she can come in.
Right.
Yeah, anyway, it was just one of the things that Medicaid suggested. Everything else was fine. They just needed to update their policy book. There were a few new rules that haven't been entered into the policy book yet. So that was it. County care, item D, is any updates on the moving, Joel, that we haven't already talked about this morning?
Yeah, you'll notice there's a trailer sitting over here in the lot. That's our new storage depot.
Was that from the landfill?
Yeah, half full. We've got to kind of come up with some sort of what are we offering them to use this trailer, because, you know, it's their trailer, I guess, just to keep things on the up and up, I suppose. I'll ask them at the next meeting what they
Park
think
it
it's
there for
worth.
free.
We haven't used it probably. Yeah, we'll tell them.
Yeah, no parking fees.
Okay, I'll tell them that. We probably haven't used it out there probably for 2 years, you know, so it's,
Sure.
it's just sitting there, so we can use it.
We need something.
Okay, got to order signs. The clerk of the court wants 2 signs, one by Casey's, whether you're coming from both ways, which is going to indicate where the courts are now. Then she also up on 3rd Street, where the road goes around that way, needs another sign with an arrow telling people to keep moving, because the address is 218 North 2nd Street. And so you got to turn onto 3rd Street. Well, then it kind of meanders over to become 2nd Street. Well, I guess folks have been stopping at Fox River's parking lot and trying to get in the door, looking for the court. So then there'll be one at the driveway, and then I think we should probably just have one out there saying county offices or something like that, and do the ones maybe like the, I say they're only this big, but I'm sure they're probably larger than that. You know, the green and white ones, the informational, and just, you don't have to contact the DOT, but we can have permission to do that, and the city here, and I'll stop up City Hall.
Good project for Dunley.
What else? Plaza's nearing ready for us, I guess. Lowell and I toured it last Friday. They were making pretty good progress. I stopped and seen Kevin yesterday, and he said it should be ready this week.
They updating some of that plumbing?
Yes, yeah. I went through and inspected the whole thing, and I took him a 2-page, you know, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, and looks like, you know, we'll go out and look at it again, make sure, and then the move can take place.
So you're basically looking at after Thanksgiving to...
Whatever works best for the court people here. I mean, Some could be probably moved next week if need be. I mean, you have to coordinate it with O'Brien's too. I mean, you know, but,
Dave could use a extra body to help him,
yeah, I know, we've talked about that too.
an able-bodied assistant.
Well, I need an extra dumper just under and around my desk here.
They will
Get a
put
dumpster for
everything in the
Stan.
box for you.
I'm gonna have to come in this week and just clear things off.
Yeah, and I asked Dave that this morning. He said, well, they will empty it out for you. They'll put all this stuff in a box and it'll be
Yeah,
out
we'll
there,
just
but,
take our personal stuff.
yeah, that's what I thought too. I
On the
mean,
desk,
Let's should do that.
we can handle that.
um,
Place is laying down here anyway.
what else going on with that? We gotta get the locks changed out there. Thought about Central Lock.
Yeah, I've got their
We got-
business card here.
Okay, business card, we'd probably call them, probably coordinate with Lowell as to how we do all the
I
doors
think Joel's got one.
Who has keys?
and who has the keys, I suppose. You know, just like what we have now, I imagine, you know.
Did you build all the vaults?
No, we don't have any vaults. Oh, that's the other thing too, we gotta check with them on the safes, because Pam wants a safe. And the clerk of the court wanted a safe, and they were supposed to get back to me on, this bank had 2 safes over in their storage.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they were, that would work, and so I'll get a hold of them on that. The other thing is security. I suppose we could get a hold of River City and have some sort of a security
Alarm system.
alarm system, camera set up as to, you know,
Yeah, need something. A lot of traffic out there.
and I'm sure after you get there, there'll be other things that will pop up, so. That's all I can tell you for now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And item E, Stan, on ATVs. Okay.
Well,
Anything we haven't discussed already?
no, the only thing is that maybe in the next few weeks, I'd like to discuss again for next year, whether or not we would, first of all, be interested. If we are, do we do it by resolution, or do we do it by resolution with ordinance with our own fines or whatever, or isn't necessary, but maybe give some thought to it and
I think it went really well.
I know people really appreciated it when it was all said and done, because
As long as nobody abused the system, I mean, you know, there's no violations. It's,
I know on Sunday afternoon, well, just one Sunday, I guess, I mean, Kelly and I rode up to Lyle and just really kind of enjoyed the back roads and
Yeah.
kind of looked some things over and,
I may have to buy one.
pardon?
I may have to buy one. Well, I mean, you know, and there's always that other set of folks out there that are privileged and get to ride them anytime they want.
Yeah,
So much for all things equal.
well, and you know, one thing about like Stacyville, they have theirs year around, because people do have the snow plows.
Sure.
And so they use it for cleaning sidewalks and that, and so, yeah, their ordinances.
Seen an individual the other day, he had a sprayer on the back of his.
Oh, yeah, that's, I went up with Fred Elwood up and on the bicycle trail back in there, they got a real weed problem back in there on some of the conservation property. We went all over back in there with he sprayed multifloral rose, I think is what the big problem is.
No, I definitely think it deserves more looking at, and we can probably come up with something.
Well, and I had one email from, and I don't know how she got my email address, but a lady from Winnebago, and they were happy, they brought theirs over to camp, you know, and they didn't use our county parks. They had a friend that they camped on his property, but, so then they could ride, and they were just happy as, and I think you're going to see more usage of that, if, you know, if the county parks go along with, that they can go in and out of the county parks.
Well, that's right. Yeah. Well, they should be able to, shouldn't they?
Well, right now, again, they're not allowed in the county parks, but if they're on the roadway, I think that was discussed, that probably next year they'd allow them then if we go forward, so.
Is that it?
That's it. Thank you.
Anything else for the good of the cause?
Lowell's got work to do today.
Yep, 9:45.